the social brain. The first step in understanding the power of social intelligence is realizing that human beings are, by nature, deeply social creatures. Our brains are not just wired to think and reason. They are specifically designed to connect with other people. This is not an abstract idea, but a scientific reality backed by decades of research into neuroscience and psychology. The brain has developed over millennia in ways that allow us to perceive, interpret, and respond to the emotions and actions of others. This complex system of connections is what we call the social brain. Before diving into the mechanics of the social brain, let's first recognize the sheer magnitude of social interactions in our daily lives. Every conversation you have, every interaction with a colleague, family member, or even a stranger on the street requires the brain to constantly process a vast array of signals, facial expressions, tone of voice, body language, and the unspoken nuances that convey meaning far beyond words. Our brain's ability to decode these signals quickly and accurately is a testament to how deeply we are embedded in a social context. Without this ability, our relationships, whether personal or professional, would be incredibly challenging. In this chapter, we will explore how our brain processes social information, how it allows us to connect with others, and how it shapes our understanding of the world and people around us. By understanding how our brains are hardwired for social interaction, we can unlock the potential of social intelligence and harness it to improve our relationships, our work, and our lives. Understanding the evolutionary roots of the social brain. Our social brains didn't emerge overnight. They are the result of millions of years of evolution. Early humans, like all social animals, needed to form strong bonds with others to survive. Whether in small tribes or larger communities, survival often depended on cooperation and mutual support. This drive for social connection became ingrained in the very structure of our brain. As a result, human beings evolved specialized neural systems that help us navigate the complex web of social interactions. The evolutionary foundation of the social brain can be traced to the development of certain areas of the brain, such as the prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and insula. These brain regions play key roles in processing emotions, reading facial expressions, and understanding social cues. The development of these brain areas helped early humans navigate their social environments, form alliances, and avoid threats. This evolutionary adaptation was crucial for survival, and it laid the foundation for the sophisticated social intelligence we possess today. One of the most fascinating aspects of the human brain is the presence of mirror neurons, which are specialized cells that allow us to empathize with others. When we observe someone performing an action or experiencing an emotion, these neurons fire in our brain as though we were doing the same thing. This enables us to feel what others feel and understand their emotions more deeply. Mirror neurons are a key component of empathy, and they form a vital part of our social brain. This neural mechanism allows us to connect with others on a deeply emotional level, and it is the basis for the powerful sense of shared experience that forms the foundation of human relationships. The role of the prefrontal cortex, a social decision maker. One of the most critical brain regions involved in social intelligence is the prefrontal cortex, PFC, the area at the front of the brain that is responsible for higher-level thinking, decision-making, and self-regulation. This area of the brain helps us make decisions based not only on logic, but also on social and emotional considerations. The PFC is what allows us to weigh social consequences, to choose behaviors that align with our values, and to regulate our impulses in social settings. When you meet someone new, the prefrontal cortex is at work. It's not just analyzing what that person is saying, but also interpreting their body language, facial expressions, and the tone of their voice. The PFC helps us assess the emotional context of a conversation and decide how to respond. This complex decision-making process often happens in split seconds, demonstrating just how deeply our brain is attuned to social interactions. Over time, these quick assessments become second nature, allowing us to navigate social situations with ease. The prefrontal cortex also plays a role in managing social relationships. It helps us maintain self-control in difficult social situations, whether it's restraining from saying something inappropriate or recognizing when to speak up in a group conversation. It helps us understand the emotional landscape of a situation and decide how best to engage with others. The prefrontal cortex's ability to process social information is what allows us to navigate the complexities of group dynamics, whether at work or in personal relationships. The amygdala, the emotional signal center. Another key player in the social brain is the amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm system. The amygdala is responsible for detecting threats in our environment and triggering the appropriate emotional response. This could be a feeling of fear when encountering danger or joy when seeing a loved one, but the amygdala's role extends beyond basic survival instincts. It also plays a significant role in social interactions. In social situations, the amygdala helps us process the emotional signals of others. When we see someone's facial expression, hear the tone of their voice, or observe their body language, the amygdala helps us interpret those signals and decide how to react. For example, if someone is smiling and speaking warmly, the amygdala signals that the person is approachable and friendly. Conversely, if someone is frowning or crossing their arms, the amygdala may alert us to potential hostility or discomfort. These rapid emotional responses are crucial for navigating social situations quickly and efficiently. Interestingly, the amygdala is also involved in the process of social learning. It helps us remember emotional experiences and associate them with certain people or situations. This learning process is essential for building social intelligence. Over time, as we have more social experiences, the amygdala helps us refine our ability to understand and respond to the emotions of others. This learning process allows us to adapt our social behaviors, becoming more attuned to the needs and feelings of those around us. The insula, a gateway to empathy. The insula, a region deep within the brain, plays a crucial role in empathy. It is responsible for processing bodily sensations and emotions, and it helps us feel the emotional states of others. The insula's role in empathy can be understood through its involvement in processing feelings like pain, disgust, and pleasure, emotions that we often experience when interacting with others. When we observe someone in distress or suffering, the insula activates, allowing us to feel a sense of shared emotion. This neural mechanism helps us empathize with others, forming the foundation of compassionate behavior. The insula is also involved in social decision-making, as it helps us assess the emotional consequences of our actions. It plays a role in moral decision-making, allowing us to consider how our behaviors affect the well-being of others. In this way, the insula is critical to our ability to connect with others on a deep emotional level. It enables us to recognize the emotional states of those around us and respond in ways that promote empathy and understanding. The insula's function is central to social intelligence, as it allows us to tune into the feelings of others and react appropriately. The brain's social architecture is incredibly complex, but it's also remarkably efficient. From the prefrontal cortex that guides our decision-making, to the amygdala that processes emotional signals, to the insula that allows us to empathize with others. Every part of the brain plays a role in how we understand and respond to the people around us. This chapter has only begun to scratch the surface of how the brain processes social information. In the next sections, we'll explore how these neural systems work together to shape our behavior in social situations. We'll also examine how social intelligence can be developed and refined, and how we can apply this knowledge to improve our relationships and success in both our personal and professional lives. Understanding the social brain is the first step in mastering social intelligence. By recognizing how our brains are wired for connection, we can begin to appreciate the power of empathy, communication, and emotional awareness in building meaningful relationships. In the chapters that follow, we'll continue to explore the nuances of social intelligence, equipping you with the tools you need to connect with others in ways that are authentic, empathetic, and effective. Chapter 2: The Nature of Empathy. Defining empathy and its role in human connection. Empathy is often referred to as the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. But empathy is more than just feeling for someone else. It's a complex and dynamic process involving both emotional and cognitive components. It's the cornerstone of our social intelligence, a key ingredient that enables us to forge strong, meaningful connections with the people around us. In simple terms, empathy is what allows us to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, to feel what they're feeling, and to respond in a way that is supportive and compassionate. When someone shares their grief with us, empathy allows us to feel their sadness. When someone experiences joy, empathy allows us to celebrate with them. It is, in many ways, the thread that binds us to others, allowing us to relate to their emotions and experiences. However, empathy is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It comes in various forms, from the deep emotional resonance we feel when someone close to us is in pain to the more cognitive understanding of someone's emotions in a less personal context. While empathy can feel automatic, it is a skill, one that is shaped by both biology and experience. In this chapter, we will explore the multiple dimensions of empathy, how it works in the brain, and how it influences our social interactions. The emotional and cognitive components of empathy is commonly divided into two components: emotional empathy and cognitive empathy. Emotional empathy refers to the capacity to directly feel another person's emotions. When someone else is sad, we might feel sadness as well. This form of empathy involves our ability to sense and resonate with the emotional states of others. It's what allows us to connect with someone who is grieving or anxious, as we can feel those emotions in our own bodies. Cognitive empathy, on the other hand, is the ability to understand what someone else is going through, even if we don't necessarily feel the same emotions. It's the ability to step back and recognize someone else's emotional state without becoming overwhelmed by it. Cognitive empathy allows us to empathize with someone even if we haven't experienced the same situation they're going through. For example, we may not have experienced a specific type of loss, but cognitive empathy enables us to understand how that loss might feel to someone else. Both forms of empathy are essential in social interactions. Emotional empathy enables us to bond with others on an emotional level, to offer comfort and support in moments of distress. Cognitive empathy, however, allows us to navigate social situations with greater understanding and perspective. By balancing both emotional and cognitive empathy, we can respond to others in ways that are not only compassionate, but also appropriate to the context. The neuroscience of empathy. Empathy is not just a social or emotional phenomenon. It has deep roots in the structure of the brain. At its core, empathy is a brain function, and understanding how the brain facilitates empathy can give us a deeper appreciation for its power in our social lives. The brain regions most involved in empathy include the anterior insula, the anterior cingulate cortex, and the mirror neuron system. The insula, which we briefly touched upon in Chapter 1, plays a significant role in both emotional and cognitive empathy. It is responsible for processing bodily sensations and emotions. The insula is activated when we observe someone in pain or distress, and it enables us to feel that distress in our own bodies. It's as though the insula allows us to mirror another person's emotional state, which is why it's often referred to as the empathy center of the brain. The anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, also plays a crucial role in empathy, especially in terms of emotional regulation. When we experience empathy for someone else, the ACC helps us process those emotions and decide how to respond. It enables us to modulate our emotional reactions, ensuring that we don't become overwhelmed by the emotions of others. This regulation is important because it helps prevent emotional burnout or the inability to respond in a helpful way. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of empathy at the neurological level is the role of mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are specialized brain cells that fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing the same action. These neurons form the basis for our ability to understand the emotions and intentions of others. When we see someone smiling, our mirror neurons fire as though we are smiling ourselves. When we witness someone in pain, the same neurons fire, allowing us to feel their discomfort. Mirror neurons provide the foundation for both emotional and cognitive empathy, enabling us to resonate with others' experiences and emotions. The impact of empathy on social behavior. Empathy has a profound impact on how we behave in social situations. It guides our actions, informs our decisions, and influences our relationships in subtle but powerful ways. When we empathize with someone, we are more likely to engage in pro-social behaviors, actions that benefit others and promote social harmony. For instance, when we see someone in distress, our empathy often motivates us to offer support or help. This could be as simple as offering a comforting word, providing physical assistance, or offering our time and attention. Empathy drives us to care for others, to act in ways that foster connection and understanding. This is not just a moral or ethical choice. It's an instinctual emotional response that is embedded in the very fabric of our social brains. Empathy also plays a key role in conflict resolution. When we understand the emotions and perspectives of others, we are better equipped to de-escalate tense situations and find common ground. For example, in a disagreement, empathizing with the other person's feelings can help us navigate the conversation with compassion and respect. Rather than reacting defensively or aggressively, empathy enables us to respond in a way that promotes mutual understanding and collaboration. Moreover, empathy is critical to building and maintaining relationships. It's the glue that holds friendships, partnerships, and familial bonds together. By regularly showing empathy, we signal to others that we care about their well-being and are attuned to their emotional needs. In turn, this fosters trust, loyalty, and deeper emotional connection. Empathy allows us to be present with others in meaningful ways, helping us create stronger, more supportive relationships. The limits and challenges of empathy. While empathy is an essential skill for building social connections, it does have its limits. Sometimes, we may find ourselves emotionally overwhelmed by the pain or distress of others. This is known as empathic distress or compassion fatigue. When we feel too deeply for someone else, it can be challenging to maintain the emotional balance necessary to respond effectively. Empathy fatigue is particularly common among caregivers, social workers, and those in professions that require constant emotional engagement with others. Over time, this emotional exhaustion can lead to burnout and even a diminished capacity to empathize with others. It's important, therefore, to develop the ability to regulate our emotional responses and practice self-care. Another challenge is the potential for empathy gaps in certain social contexts. For instance, when we are interacting with people who have different backgrounds, experiences, or perspectives from our own, it can be difficult to fully empathize with their feelings or needs. Cultural differences, for example, can create barriers to empathy, as we may not fully understand or relate to the experiences of others. In such situations, cognitive empathy, understanding others' emotions from an intellectual standpoint, becomes especially valuable. By actively seeking to understand someone's perspective, even if we don't feel the same emotions, we can still engage empathetically. Cultivating and expanding empathy. Empathy, like any other skill, can be cultivated and strengthened over time. Developing empathy requires both practice and mindfulness. It's not something that just happens naturally. It's a conscious effort to tune into the emotions of others and respond with care and understanding. One way to cultivate empathy is through active listening. When we truly listen to others, without judgment or distraction, we create space for them to express their emotions and experiences. This deep listening helps us understand their feelings on a more profound level, which, in turn, strengthens our empathetic responses. Active listening involves not only hearing the words, but also paying attention to the tone of voice, body language, and emotional cues. It's about being present and fully engaged in the conversation. Another way to cultivate empathy is through perspective taking. This involves making a conscious effort to see the world through another person's eyes. It's about trying to understand their thoughts, feelings, and experiences, even if we don't share them. Perspective taking is a powerful tool for expanding our empathy, as it helps us understand people who are different from us, whether culturally, socially, or emotionally. Finally, practicing empathy involves self-reflection and self-awareness. By regularly reflecting on our own emotional responses and recognizing when we might be disconnected from others, we can become more attuned to the needs of those around us. Empathy is not just about understanding others. It's also about understanding ourselves and how our emotions influence our interactions. Empathy is at the core of social intelligence. It allows us to connect with others on a deep emotional level, fostering trust, compassion, and mutual understanding. Empathy enables us to respond appropriately to the emotions of others, promoting positive interactions and relationships. It drives pro-social behaviors, enhances communication, and helps us navigate complex social situations with sensitivity and insight. As we've seen in this chapter, empathy is a multifaceted skill that involves both emotional and cognitive components. It is supported by key brain regions like the insula, anterior cingulate cortex, and mirror neuron system. But while empathy is an innate capacity, it is also a skill that can be developed and refined over time. By cultivating empathy, we can enhance our social intelligence and create stronger, more meaningful connections with the people around us. Chapter 3: The Power of Nonverbal Communication. We all know the importance of words in communication, but research shows that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal. This includes facial expressions, body language, posture, tone of voice, and even subtle changes in our behavior that can convey powerful messages, often without us even being aware of it. Nonverbal communication is an essential element of how we understand and connect with others. It operates on a level far deeper than words, often revealing more about our feelings, intentions, and emotions than we may intend to express verbally. The human brain is highly tuned to pick up on these nonverbal signals. From the tilt of a head to the way a person stands, our brains are constantly processing a flood of nonverbal cues. Understanding these cues is critical for building strong relationships, both personally and professionally. As we delve into the intricacies of nonverbal communication, we will see how vital it is to our ability to navigate social interactions, foster empathy, and develop social intelligence. In this chapter, we'll explore the different types of nonverbal communication and the underlying psychological principles that govern them. By understanding how nonverbal communication works, we can learn to interpret others' emotions and intentions more accurately, while also being mindful of the signals we send to others. The basics of nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication includes a wide array of signals and behaviors. Some of the most common forms of nonverbal communication include: 1. Facial expressions. Our faces are incredibly expressive, conveying a wide range of emotions, from joy and surprise to sadness and anger. In fact, facial expressions are one of the most universally understood forms of nonverbal communication, transcending cultural boundaries. Research by psychologist Paul Ekman shows that people around the world are able to recognize basic emotions, such as happiness, anger, fear, sadness, surprise, and disgust, based on facial expressions alone. The key to understanding facial expressions is recognizing the subtle movements of the muscles around the eyes, mouth, and forehead. For example, a genuine smile, also known as a Duchenne smile, involves the activation of both the mouth and the eyes. On the other hand, a forced or fake smile typically only involves the mouth. Being able to recognize these subtle differences can enhance our ability to understand the emotional state of others. 2. Body language and posture. Our bodies convey a wealth of information, often unconsciously. The way we sit, stand, or move can communicate confidence, anxiety, openness, defensiveness, or even aggression. Open body language, such as standing tall with shoulders back and arms uncrossed, signals confidence and approachability. In contrast, closed body language, such as crossed arms, hunched shoulders, or avoiding eye contact, can indicate discomfort, defensiveness, or lack of interest. Posture is also a key component of nonverbal communication. Leaning in during a conversation can signal engagement and interest, while leaning away can suggest boredom or a desire to distance oneself. The way we position our bodies in relation to others can reveal a lot about the level of comfort, power dynamics, and emotional connection we have with those around us. 3. Gestures. We often use hand gestures to emphasize our words or convey meaning. These gestures can be both cultural and universal. For instance, a thumbs up is generally understood as a sign of approval in many cultures, while a wave signifies a greeting or farewell. However, the meanings of some gestures can vary widely between cultures. For example, the gesture of crossing one's fingers to indicate hope or good luck may be understood in one culture but not in another. The frequency, intensity, and type of gestures we use can also reveal our emotional state. Nervousness may cause someone to fidget or make repetitive gestures, while confidence can be shown through deliberate, expansive hand movements. 4. Eye contact. Eye contact is one of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication. It is often said that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and this is because they convey so much information about how we're feeling. A prolonged gaze can communicate interest, affection, or even dominance, while avoiding eye contact may indicate shyness, dishonesty, or discomfort. Cultural differences also play a significant role in the interpretation of eye contact. In some cultures, maintaining eye contact is seen as a sign of respect and attentiveness, while in others, too much eye contact may be perceived as confrontational or rude. 5. Tone of voice and paralanguage. The way we say something can be just as important as what we say. Tone of voice, pitch, rate of speech, and volume all fall under the category of paralanguage, nonverbal elements of speech that convey emotional nuances. For example, speaking in a high-pitched, fast tone may indicate excitement or anxiety, while a slow, deep tone may suggest calmness or authority. Paralanguage can also convey sarcasm, affection, or irritation. The same sentence spoken with a different tone can convey an entirely different message. Therefore, listening to the tone and rhythm of speech is essential for understanding the true meaning behind a statement. The psychological mechanisms behind nonverbal communication. The power of nonverbal communications lies in its deep connection to the emotional and psychological processes of the brain. Nonverbal cues are processed by several brain areas, including the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and insula, all of which play important roles in emotional processing, empathy, and decision-making. 1. The amygdala and emotional response. The amygdala is responsible for processing emotions, particularly fear and threat detection. When we observe nonverbal cues, such as a tense posture or a frown, the amygdala quickly assesses whether these signals are positive or negative. It triggers an emotional response based on that assessment, which helps us determine how to react. For instance, if we see someone frowning or avoiding eye contact, the amygdala may interpret that as a sign of disinterest or discomfort, prompting us to adjust our approach accordingly. 2. The prefrontal cortex and social processing. The prefrontal cortex plays a crucial role in evaluating social situations and regulating our responses. When we observe nonverbal cues, the prefrontal cortex helps us make decisions about how to act in the context of the relationship or environment. For example, if someone is displaying closed body language, the prefrontal cortex may prompt us to take a more empathetic or cautious approach, rather than being confrontational or overly assertive. 3. The insula and empathy. The insula is involved in processing bodily sensations and emotions, particularly those related to empathy. When we observe someone's nonverbal cues, such as a sad facial expression or tense body posture, the insula helps us resonate with those emotions and understand what the person is feeling. This connection between the insula and nonverbal communication is central to our ability to empathize with others and respond in a compassionate way. The role of nonverbal communication in building trust and rapport. nonverbal communication plays a critical role in the development of trust and rapport. Trust is the foundation of all meaningful relationships, and nonverbal cues are often the first indicators of trustworthiness or distrust. A warm smile, a firm handshake, or an open posture can immediately signal trustworthiness, while a lack of eye contact, crossed arms, or fidgeting may suggest discomfort or dishonesty. One of the most important aspects of nonverbal communication is its ability to create a sense of connection. When we mirror another person's body language, posture, or gestures, known as mirroring or matching, we subconsciously signal to them that we are on the same wavelength. This mirroring behavior is a natural way to build rapport and trust. It signals empathy and understanding, which are essential for establishing a positive connection. In addition, nonverbal communication can enhance the effectiveness of verbal communication. When our nonverbal cues align with our words, they create a sense of coherence and authenticity. For example, when someone says they're happy to see you, but their arms are crossed and they avoid eye contact, the message may feel insincere. In contrast, when someone's verbal message is reinforced with open body language, a warm smile, and direct eye contact, the message feels genuine and trustworthy. How to improve your nonverbal communication skills. Becoming more aware of your own nonverbal communication and learning to read others' cues is a powerful way to improve your social intelligence. Here are a few strategies to enhance your nonverbal communication skills. 1. Increase awareness. Start by paying attention to your own body language. Are you conveying openness, warmth, and interest through your posture, facial expressions, and gestures? Are you maintaining appropriate eye contact? Becoming more mindful of your own nonverbal cues allows you to control how others perceive you and helps you engage more authentically in social interactions. 2. Observe others. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues of the people around you. Notice their facial expressions, posture, and tone of voice. Try to interpret their emotions and intentions based on these cues. This will help you become more attuned to others' feelings, making it easier to respond empathetically. 3. Practice active listening. Nonverbal communication is not just about what you express, but also about what you perceive. Active listening involves not only hearing the words someone says, but also paying attention to their tone, body language, and facial expressions. By fully engaging in the conversation, you'll be able to respond more thoughtfully and empathetically. Nonverbal communication is an essential component of social intelligence. It allows us to convey emotions, establish trust, and connect with others on a deep level. By becoming more aware of our own nonverbal cues and learning to read the signals of others, we can enhance our ability to navigate social situations, build stronger relationships, and communicate more effectively. Chapter 4. Emotional Intelligence and its Role in Social Interactions. The concept of emotional intelligence, EQ, refers to the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions, as well as the ability to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. Unlike intellectual intelligence, IQ, which primarily focuses on cognitive abilities and problem-solving skills, emotional intelligence emphasizes emotional awareness, empathy, and interpersonal skills. It is a concept that was popularized by psychologist Daniel Goleman in the mid-1990s and has since become recognized as a key factor in personal and professional success. Emotional intelligence is fundamental to effective communication and social interactions because it helps us navigate the complex web of emotions that underlie most human behavior. EQ affects how we perceive ourselves and others, how we react to situations, and how we relate to people on a deeper level. Emotional intelligence is composed of several core components that work together to enhance our social and emotional functioning. The first component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand our own emotions, as well as their impact on our thoughts and behaviors. When we are self-aware, we can accurately assess how we are feeling and why we feel that way, which allows us to respond more thoughtfully to situations and interactions. Self-awareness also enables us to identify our strengths and weaknesses, helping us make better decisions and take more appropriate actions in both personal and professional settings. The second component is self-regulation, which refers to the ability to control and manage our emotions, especially in stressful or challenging situations. Self-regulation is essential for maintaining emotional balance and composure when faced with conflict, frustration, or other difficult emotions. People with high emotional intelligence are skilled at managing their impulses, remaining calm under pressure, and making thoughtful, deliberate decisions, rather than reacting impulsively to their emotions. The third component is motivation, which involves setting and working toward goals that align with our values and desires. Emotionally intelligent individuals are generally more motivated, resilient, and committed to their objectives, as they have the emotional awareness and self-regulation skills to persevere in the face of obstacles. They are also more likely to maintain a positive attitude and exhibit a strong sense of drive, even during difficult times. The fourth component is empathy, which is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Empathy is crucial for building strong relationships, as it allows us to connect with others on an emotional level, offering support and understanding when they need it most. People with high empathy are able to listen attentively, recognize emotional cues, and respond in a compassionate and constructive manner. The fifth and final component of emotional intelligence is social skills, which encompass the ability to communicate effectively, build relationships, and work collaboratively with others. Social skills are the practical application of emotional intelligence, as they involve using our emotional awareness and empathy to navigate social interactions, resolve conflicts, and influence others in a positive way. How emotional intelligence impacts social interactions. Emotional intelligence plays a pivotal role in our social interactions, shaping the way we connect with others, manage conflicts, and build relationships. At its core, EQ allows us to tune into the emotional undercurrents that influence social dynamics, making it easier to understand the motivations, concerns, and needs of others. In many ways, emotional intelligence serves as a kind of social radar, helping us pick up on subtle emotional signals and respond accordingly. For example, when we interact with someone, we don't just listen to their words. We also pay attention to their tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions. These nonverbal cues convey important emotional information that can guide our responses. People with high emotional intelligence are particularly adept at reading these cues, allowing them to navigate social situations with greater ease and confidence. They can recognize when someone is feeling anxious, frustrated, or sad, and adjust their behavior to be more supportive or empathetic. In contrast, individuals with low emotional intelligence may struggle to pick up on these emotional signals, leading to misunderstandings or awkward interactions. One of the key ways that emotional intelligence enhances social interactions is through the development of empathy. Empathy is the ability to put ourselves in someone else's shoes and truly understand their emotional experience. It goes beyond sympathy, which involves feeling pity or sorrow for someone. Empathy involves connecting with their feelings and sharing in their emotional journey. Empathy is a fundamental aspect of emotional intelligence because it allows us to build rapport, establish trust, and deepen our relationships with others. When we show empathy, we create a sense of emotional safety and understanding, which encourages others to open up and engage with us. This is particularly important in both personal and professional relationships, where trust and communication are essential for success. People who are empathetic tend to be better listeners, more considerate in their responses, and more attuned to the needs of others. They are also more likely to engage in prosocial behaviors, such as offering support or assistance, which strengthens social bonds and fosters cooperation. Emotional intelligence also plays a critical role in conflict resolution. In any social interaction, disagreements and conflicts are inevitable. However, the way we handle these conflicts can make a significant difference in the outcome. People with high emotional intelligence are generally more skilled at managing conflict because they can regulate their emotions and approach the situation with a calm, measured mindset. Rather than reacting impulsively or aggressively, they take the time to understand the perspectives of all parties involved and seek a constructive resolution. They are able to de-escalate tense situations, facilitate productive conversations, and find common ground, even when emotions are running high. In contrast, individuals with low emotional intelligence may become defensive, argumentative, or dismissive during conflicts, which can lead to further tension and damage to the relationship. By understanding and managing our emotions, we are better equipped to navigate disagreements in a way that promotes collaboration and mutual respect. Furthermore, emotional intelligence is crucial for building and maintaining positive relationships, both personally and professionally. Relationships are built on trust, communication, and mutual respect, and emotional intelligence enhances all of these components. When we are emotionally intelligent, we are more likely to communicate effectively, show empathy, and handle conflicts constructively, all of which contribute to stronger, more resilient relationships. In a professional context, emotional intelligence is particularly valuable as it helps individuals collaborate more effectively, lead teams with greater skill, and navigate complex social dynamics in the workplace. Leaders with high emotional intelligence are more likely to inspire loyalty, motivate their teams, and create a positive work environment. They are also better at managing stress and staying focused under pressure, which allows them to make better decisions and lead by example. Emotional intelligence is also important for networking and building connections, as it enables individuals to connect with others on a personal level and build rapport quickly. The benefits of emotional intelligence. The benefits of emotional intelligence are vast and far-reaching. Research has shown that individuals with high emotional intelligence tend to experience greater success in both their personal and professional lives. They are more likely to have fulfilling relationships, higher levels of job satisfaction, and better overall mental health. This is because emotional intelligence allows us to better manage our emotions, navigate social situations, and build stronger, more supportive relationships. People with high EQ are also more likely to be resilient in the face of adversity, as they are able to regulate their emotional responses to stress and maintain a positive outlook. This resilience is particularly important in today's fast-paced, often unpredictable world. where change and uncertainty are constants. In addition to improving personal and professional relationships, emotional intelligence is also linked to improved physical health. Studies have found that individuals with high emotional intelligence are less likely to experience stress-related health problems, such as high blood pressure or heart disease. This is likely because emotional intelligence helps individuals manage their emotions in a healthy way, reducing the harmful effects of chronic stress. By learning to regulate our emotions, we can lower our stress levels, improve our immune system function, and enhance our overall well-being. Another key benefit of emotional intelligence is its role in enhancing leadership skills. Leaders with high emotional intelligence are better equipped to inspire and motivate their teams, resolve conflicts, and foster a positive work culture. They are also more adept at understanding the emotional needs of their employees and providing the support and guidance necessary for success. Research has shown that emotionally intelligent leaders are more likely to earn the trust and respect of their employees, which leads to higher levels of engagement, productivity, and job satisfaction. Additionally, emotional intelligence helps leaders navigate the complexities of decision-making, as it enables them to consider the emotional impact of their choices on others. How to develop emotional intelligence. While emotional intelligence may come more naturally to some individuals, it is a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time. The process of improving emotional intelligence involves building self-awareness, practicing emotional regulation, and developing empathy and social skills. Here are some strategies to help you enhance your emotional intelligence. 1. Practice self-reflection. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence, and it begins with self-reflection. Take time each day to reflect on your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. Ask yourself how you felt during different interactions, what triggered those emotions, and how your reactions affected the outcome of the situation. Journaling can be a helpful tool for self-reflection, as it allows you to process your thoughts and emotions in a constructive way. 2. Regulate your emotions. Emotional regulation is a skill that can be developed through mindfulness and relaxation techniques. Practice techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, or progressive muscle relaxation to help you stay calm and focused in stressful situations. By learning to manage your emotions, you can reduce impulsive reactions and respond more thoughtfully to challenges. 3. Develop empathy. Empathy is a key component of emotional intelligence, and it can be cultivated through active listening and perspective-taking. Practice listening attentively to others without interrupting or judging. Try to understand their emotions and experiences and respond in a supportive and compassionate manner. 4. Enhance your social skills. Social skills are the practical application of emotional intelligence. To improve your social skills, focus on building rapport, resolving conflicts constructively, and communicating effectively. Practice being open, approachable, and assertive in your interactions with others. Emotional intelligence is a powerful tool that can transform the way we interact with others, manage our emotions, and navigate social situations. By developing our emotional intelligence, we can build stronger relationships, handle conflicts more effectively, and become more successful in both our personal and professional lives. EQ is not just about being aware of our emotions. It's about understanding the emotions of others, regulating our own emotional responses, and using this awareness to create positive, meaningful connections. As we continue to enhance our emotional intelligence, we unlock the potential to foster deeper relationships, improve our communication, and become more empathetic, compassionate individuals. Chapter 5. Mastering the Art of Communication. Understanding the importance of effective communication. Communication is often described as the backbone of all human relationships, whether personal or professional. It is the primary tool we use to express ourselves, connect with others, and navigate the complex web of emotions, ideas, and intentions that underpin our interactions. While many people may assume that communication is as simple as speaking and listening, it is far more nuanced than that. True communication involves the ability to convey ideas, emotions, and intentions clearly and effectively, while also being able to understand and respond to the messages others are sending. In fact, effective communication is a key determinant of success in nearly every aspect of life, whether it's fostering strong relationships, advancing in a career, or resolving conflicts. Without effective communication, misunderstandings, frustration, and isolation are likely to occur, often resulting in unnecessary conflict or disconnection. By mastering the art of communication, we can build better relationships, collaborate more efficiently, and navigate the challenges of daily life with greater ease. At its core, communication is a two-way process. It involves not only the transmission of information, but also the reception and interpretation of that information. The message being communicated can be verbal or nonverbal, and both forms play a crucial role in shaping the effectiveness of the communication. Verbal communication, which involves the use of words, is often the first thing we think of when we consider communication. However, research has shown that a significant portion of communication is nonverbal. Some estimates suggest that as much as 93% of communication is conveyed through nonverbal cues, including body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and gestures. This means that even when we are not speaking, we are still sending powerful messages to those around us. It is essential to be aware of both verbal and nonverbal elements of communication as they work together to convey meaning and influence the impact of our messages. When both are in alignment, communication is more likely to be effective and engaging. But when they are mismatched, confusion and misinterpretation can occur. Effective communication also requires a level of emotional intelligence. Being emotionally aware of ourselves and others allows us to choose our words carefully, respond empathetically, and engage in active listening. This requires us to be fully present during conversations, not just passively receiving information, but also engaging with it. It is important to remember that communication is not a one-way street. It is a dynamic interaction where both parties are involved in the exchange. Active listening is a critical component of effective communication. It goes beyond hearing words to fully understanding and processing the message being delivered. This involves paying attention to the speaker's tone, body language, and emotional state, while also remaining open to their perspective. When we listen actively, we show that we value the other person's thoughts and feelings, which helps to build trust and rapport. Conversely, when we fail to listen attentively or are distracted during conversations, it can cause frustration, alienation, and a breakdown in communication. The elements of communication: words, tone, and body language. The elements of communication are multifaceted, and each component plays a crucial role in how messages are received and understood. Let's begin by looking at verbal communication, which involves the use of words to convey meaning. The choice of words is essential in shaping how a message is perceived. Words carry both denotative literal meanings, and connotative, emotional or subjective meanings. And understanding the nuances of language is key to ensuring effective communication. For instance, the way we phrase something can influence whether it is interpreted as a positive or negative message. A simple phrase like, "I understand," can carry different meanings depending on the context, tone, and relationship between the people involved. The words we use can either enhance or undermine the message we are trying to communicate, so it is crucial to be mindful of our language choices. Tone of voice is another vital element of communication that can greatly impact the meaning of our words. Tone refers to the emotional quality of our voice, whether it's warm, cold, excited, frustrated, or indifferent. A speaker's tone can convey a wealth of information beyond the actual words being spoken. For example, saying, "I'm fine" in a flat monotone voice may suggest that the speaker is not actually fine and may be upset or frustrated. Conversely, saying "I'm fine" in an upbeat and warm tone conveys sincerity and assurance. Our tone can indicate our emotional state, intentions, and level of engagement in the conversation. When our tone is inconsistent with our words, it can lead to confusion or mistrust. Being mindful of our tone and ensuring that it aligns with the message we want to convey is essential for effective communication. Body language is perhaps the most powerful nonverbal aspect of communication. It encompasses all the physical gestures, movements, and postures that convey information about how we are feeling and what we are thinking. Body language includes facial expressions, eye contact, posture, gestures, and even the distance we maintain from others during conversations. These cues can provide additional context and meaning to the words we speak. For example, maintaining eye contact during a conversation shows attentiveness and respect, while avoiding eye contact may signal discomfort, disinterest, or dishonesty. Crossed arms may suggest defensiveness or discomfort, while an open posture can convey openness and receptivity. The way we position ourselves, our facial expressions, and our physical movements all send messages to the other person, whether consciously or unconsciously. In fact, body language often communicates more about our true feelings than the words we say, which is why it is essential to be aware of the signals we are sending through our physical actions. Active listening and its role in effective communication. One of the most crucial components of effective communication is active listening. Many people believe that communication is primarily about speaking, but the truth is that listening is just as, if not more, important. Active listening involves fully concentrating on the speaker, understanding their message, responding thoughtfully, and remembering what was said. It requires more than just hearing the words. It involves paying attention to the speaker's tone, body language, and emotional state, while also suspending judgment and providing feedback. Active listening is not about preparing our own response while the other person is speaking. It is about being fully present and engaged in the conversation. When we listen actively, we show that we respect the other person's perspective and value their input. This creates a sense of trust and connection, making the other person feel heard and understood. On the other hand, when we fail to listen actively by interrupting, zoning out, or simply waiting for our turn to speak, we risk alienating the other person and creating misunderstandings. Active listening involves several key techniques, including paraphrasing, summarizing, and asking clarifying questions. Paraphrasing involves restating what the speaker has said in our own words, which not only demonstrates that we are listening, but also provides an opportunity for the speaker to confirm or correct our understanding. Summarizing involves providing a brief recap of the main points of the conversation, which helps ensure that we have captured the key elements of the discussion. Asking clarifying questions is another important technique, as it shows that we are engaged and eager to understand the speaker's message more fully. By practicing these techniques, we can enhance our ability to listen actively and improve the overall quality of our communication. Nonverbal communication, the silent language of interaction. As previously mentioned, nonverbal communication plays a significant role in the way we convey messages and interpret others' behavior. Nonverbal cues, such as facial expressions, gestures, posture, and eye contact, often communicate more than words themselves. These cues can provide insight into a person's emotions, intentions, and attitudes, sometimes revealing more about what they are thinking or feeling than their spoken words. In fact, research suggests that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal, with 55% of communication coming from body language, 38% from tone of voice, and only 7% from the actual words used. Given the powerful influence of nonverbal communication, it is essential to pay attention to these cues, both in ourselves and in others. One of the most important aspects of nonverbal communication is body language, which can convey a range of emotions and attitudes. For example, crossed arms may indicate defensiveness or resistance, while an open posture suggests openness and receptivity. Similarly, a warm, genuine smile can convey friendliness and approachability, while a frown or scowl may indicate displeasure or anger. Eye contact is another crucial component of nonverbal communication. Maintaining eye contact shows attentiveness and respect, while avoiding eye contact can suggest discomfort, dishonesty, or disinterest. The way we position our bodies in relation to others also sends nonverbal messages. Standing or sitting with an open posture and leaning slightly forward can communicate interest and engagement, while turning away or crossing our arms may signal disengagement or discomfort. Enhancing your communication skills. To master the art of communication, it is essential to develop both verbal and nonverbal communication skills. Start by focusing on active listening, ensuring that you are fully present during conversations, and giving the speaker your undivided attention. Practice being mindful of your tone and body language, ensuring that they align with the message you are trying to convey. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues of others and learn to read the emotional undertones of a conversation. By improving your communication skills, you can foster stronger relationships, resolve conflicts more effectively, and enhance your overall social intelligence. Effective communication is the foundation of all successful relationships, both personal and professional. By mastering the art of communication, we can connect with others on a deeper level, build trust, and create an environment of mutual respect and understanding. Whether it's through our choice of words, tone of voice, or body language, every interaction we have is an opportunity to strengthen our social bonds and navigate the complexities of human interaction. By honing our communication skills and practicing active listening, we can improve our ability to connect, collaborate, and thrive in an increasingly interconnected world. Chapter 6: The Power of Empathy in Communication. Empathy is often described as the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence, and it plays a vital role in communication. In fact, empathy is one of the key elements that distinguishes truly effective communicators from those who struggle to form meaningful connections. Without empathy, communication can become transactional, superficial, and even alienating. But when empathy is present, it creates a bridge between people, allowing for a deeper understanding and connection. Empathy helps us see beyond our own perspectives, inviting us to step into the shoes of others and perceive the world through their eyes. It allows us to listen not only to what is being said, but also to the underlying emotions, needs, and desires that might not be immediately visible. Empathy enhances our social intelligence by helping us respond in ways that are sensitive to the feelings of others, fostering mutual respect and trust. This chapter will delve deeper into the nature of empathy, its impact on communication, and practical ways to cultivate this essential skill. The first step in understanding empathy is recognizing that it goes beyond mere sympathy. While sympathy involves feeling pity or sorrow for someone else's misfortune, empathy requires a deeper level of connection. It's not just about feeling sorry for someone. It's about experiencing their emotions as if they were your own. This does not mean that we lose our own emotional perspective or become overwhelmed by the other person's feelings, but rather that we open ourselves up to understanding and sharing in their emotional experience. This deeper emotional resonance creates a powerful bond between people and strengthens relationships. In contrast, a lack of empathy can lead to misunderstandings, frustration, and emotional distance. Empathy requires us to listen attentively with both our minds and hearts, and to engage with the other person's emotions and experiences in a genuine and non-judgmental way. This allows us to respond thoughtfully, offering support, comfort, or validation as needed. It also opens the door to more effective problem solving, as we can better understand the underlying motivations and concerns of others. Empathy is not just about understanding others on an intellectual level. It also involves connecting with them emotionally. This emotional connection allows us to engage in more compassionate and authentic communication. For example, when someone is going through a difficult time, simply offering words of comfort can sometimes feel empty if they are not backed by a genuine understanding of what the person is feeling. On the other hand, when we empathize with the person's emotions, we are able to offer words and actions that are grounded in compassion, and we are more likely to offer support that resonates with their needs. Empathy allows us to meet others where they are emotionally, making it easier to build rapport and foster trust. It is through empathy that we are able to communicate in a way that feels human rather than transactional, and to connect on a deeper level with those around us. The two types of empathy: cognitive and emotional. There are two primary types of empathy: cognitive empathy and emotional empathy. Each type plays a distinct role in communication, and both are important for building strong, meaningful relationships. Understanding the differences between cognitive and emotional empathy can help us develop a more nuanced approach to our interactions with others. Cognitive empathy is the ability to understand another person's perspective or point of view. It involves recognizing and grasping the thoughts, beliefs, and intentions of others. In other words, cognitive empathy allows us to put ourselves in someone else's shoes intellectually, understanding their reasoning and worldview. This type of empathy is particularly useful in situations that require problem solving, conflict resolution, or negotiation. For example, when a colleague presents a differing opinion, cognitive empathy enables us to understand their argument and the reasons behind it. Even if we don't agree, This understanding allows us to engage in a more productive and respectful discussion, rather than resorting to defensiveness or aggression. Cognitive empathy is also crucial in professional environments, where it helps us work collaboratively with diverse teams, communicate effectively with clients, and navigate the complexities of social dynamics. It allows us to engage with others' ideas and perspectives without judgment, making it easier to find common ground and build consensus. On the other hand, emotional empathy involves feeling what another person is feeling. It is the ability to share in the emotional experience of others, such as feeling their joy, sadness, frustration, or fear. Emotional empathy allows us to connect with others on a deep, visceral level, enabling us to respond with genuine compassion and care. This type of empathy is particularly important in personal relationships, as it fosters emotional intimacy and understanding. For example, when a friend is grieving the loss of a loved one, emotional empathy allows us to feel their pain and offer support that comes from a place of shared emotion. Emotional empathy also plays a crucial role in comforting others during times of distress, as it enables us to offer validation and emotional support that meets the person's needs. However, emotional empathy can also be challenging at times, as it requires us to confront and feel the emotions of others, which can be overwhelming or difficult. Balancing emotional empathy with cognitive empathy, understanding someone's feelings while also maintaining our own emotional boundaries, is key to maintaining healthy relationships and preventing emotional burnout. The role of empathy in building trust and connection. Empathy is a fundamental driver of trust and connection in relationships. When we demonstrate empathy, we signal to others that we are attuned to their feelings and needs, and that we care about their well-being. This creates an environment of psychological safety, where people feel comfortable expressing themselves without fear of judgment or rejection. Trust is the foundation of all strong relationships, and empathy is one of the key ingredients in building and maintaining that trust. When people feel understood and valued, they are more likely to open up, be honest, and engage in meaningful communication. Conversely, when empathy is lacking, communication can become strained, leading to misunderstandings, frustration, and disconnection. Empathy fosters a sense of belonging and validation. When someone feels that their emotions are recognized and understood, they are more likely to feel connected to the other person and to trust them. This is especially important in personal relationships, where emotional intimacy is a key factor in building lasting bonds. Empathy helps create a space where both parties can be vulnerable, share their thoughts and feelings, and engage in authentic communication. In professional settings, empathy can also enhance collaboration and teamwork. When colleagues empathize with one another, they are more likely to support each other, work together to solve problems, and create a positive work environment. This sense of connection and mutual understanding can lead to greater productivity, creativity, and job satisfaction. Empathy also plays a crucial role in conflict resolution. When we are able to empathize with the emotions and perspectives of others, we are better equipped to handle disagreements and find solutions that satisfy everyone involved. Instead of focusing on winning or being right, empathy encourages us to listen with an open mind and seek understanding. It helps us approach conflicts with a mindset of collaboration rather than confrontation, which can lead to more positive outcomes. Empathy enables us to recognize the underlying emotional needs that may be driving a conflict, allowing us to address these needs in a compassionate and constructive manner. How to cultivate empathy in everyday interactions. While some people may have a natural inclination toward empathy, it is a skill that can be cultivated with practice. Developing greater empathy requires us to be intentional about how we engage with others and to prioritize understanding their feelings and perspectives. The following are several practical strategies for cultivating empathy in everyday interactions. 1. Practice active listening. One of the most effective ways to demonstrate empathy is by listening actively. Active listening involves fully engaging with the speaker, paying attention to their words, tone, and body language. It also requires us to suspend judgment and refrain from interrupting or offering unsolicited advice. By listening attentively, we show that we value the other person's thoughts and feelings, which fosters a sense of connection and trust. 2. Put yourself in others' shoes. Empathy requires us to step outside of our own perspective and consider the experiences and emotions of others. When engaging with someone, try to imagine what it would be like to walk in their shoes. What might they be feeling, thinking, or experiencing? This exercise helps us develop a deeper understanding of their point of view and allows us to respond with greater compassion. 3. Validate others' emotions. Sometimes, the most powerful way to demonstrate empathy is by simply acknowledging and validating another person's emotions. For example, if a friend is upset, saying, "I can see that you're really frustrated," can show that you recognize and respect their feelings. Validation helps people feel heard and understood, which can go a long way in strengthening relationships. 4. Be present and attentive. Empathy requires us to be present in the moment and to give our full attention to the person we are communicating with. Put away distractions, such as phones or other devices, and focus on the conversation at hand. Being present demonstrates that you value the other person and are committed to understanding their feelings. 5. Express compassion and support. Finally, empathy involves not just understanding, but also responding with compassion. Offer words of encouragement, comfort, or support that are appropriate to the situation. Whether it's offering a listening ear, a kind word, or a helping hand, expressing compassion helps to strengthen the bond between you and the other person. The challenges of empathy and how to overcome them. While empathy is an essential skill, it is not always easy to practice. There are several challenges that can make it difficult to empathize with others, including emotional exhaustion, biases, and cultural differences. For example, when we are emotionally drained or overwhelmed, it can be hard to muster the energy to empathize with others. In such cases, it's important to practice self-care and set boundaries to protect our emotional well-being. Additionally, we may have unconscious biases or assumptions that prevent us from truly understanding others, especially those who come from different backgrounds or perspectives. Overcoming these biases requires us to be open-minded, curious, and willing to challenge our own assumptions. By doing so, we can cultivate a deeper sense of empathy and connect with others on a more meaningful level. Empathy is the heart of effective communication and social intelligence. It allows us to build trust, foster understanding, and create deep, meaningful connections with others. Whether in personal relationships or professional settings, empathy is the key to navigating the complexities of human interaction with compassion and care. By practicing active listening, putting ourselves in others' shoes, and responding with validation and support, we can cultivate empathy and enhance our ability to communicate effectively.